Okay, there's quite a few things on this screen. So this has got a lot to do with directions and how you can combine directional components and things. And there's probably a couple other bits in here too. So let's go through it. The first one I will do is I go straight into this direction combiner because, yeah, directions, right? So as you can see in this particular component, we've got a bunch of things giving us direction. One's this LSG, which is the Lorenz signal generator, Lorenz something. Schmidt trigger, I think it is. Lorenz Schmidt governor. There you go. I remember it now. And then we got some stuff coming in from moving averages. So we got stuff coming in from MA1, MA2, MA3. And notice we're just pulling the direction from there, not the actual price. And then on the second one, we did direction on the first one. So we're just pulling the direction from all of these. So because these are my indicators, direction in this case means -1 means going short, 0 means flat, and +1 means going long. So just for for your information. But we can get anything from anywhere and get those sorts of signals or other types of signals with other components. So you don't have to have that to start with. It's just convenient for me because I already know I use that a lot. So, I don't have to do any conversion by having it through my own indicators that already do that. Oh, that was a mouthful. You get the idea. I'm just being convenient for myself. Now, so we've got three different ways of doing moving averages here. We've got this one here, which by the way is ridiculously long. It's like a 2000 moving average just for fun. I mean, look at that thing. That thing's way slower than even a 200 moving average. And again, I'm doing all this just for example. I'm not trying to make a winning strategy or anything. And then we got a couple of other moving averages. I think one of them is adaptive, and then the other one is kind of a really smooth one, like an SMMA or something like that. And then this kind of jerky, squarish one is the Lorenz Schmidt governor, which is a very interesting combination, by the way. Um, so now, if we want to say, I want to know when this massive one and all of these are in the same direction, how do I do that? Well, I can put them all in the direction combiner. And then I can go up here and I say, all of them must match. Okay. So for me to get a positive, every single one has to be long, or negative, every single one has to be short. Otherwise, it's just flat. It's just going to say it's not going in any direction. And once I do that, let's have a look and see what the output looks like. And there you go. So when they're all going long, you can see it's up there around the 1 mark, and then it's flat when they're not. And if we go into where this thing actually goes negative, so now you see that this is on the negative curve. All the others have to be negative, short. All the others have to go short as well, and then we get this -1. And if they don't all agree, we get a neutral direction. And obviously, we can get other numbers in other ways, like we can use output bias, which instead, what this will do is it'll say, well, I got two that agree in the positive direction and one that's in the negative direction, so that's a +1. And so you're seeing numbers here in integers, like you see, that's a 2, and that's a negative, what's it? That's going to be -3, and so on. And it's just adding up. -1 for negative for short, +1 for long, and you have a number here. And so you can use that as a directional bias if you want. And so on. And the triggers, I don't actually remember how the triggers works. It's been a while since I've used this one. But you can always just look at it. Maybe it's when they all suddenly agree, it gives a signal or something. There you can see some triggers there. Yeah, so probably as soon as they all agree, you're getting a trigger signal. So there you go. You can change the candles color to match if you want, but that's about it. Um, if you don't have all agree, then it's simply going to go long when it's not 0, or when it's positive instead of 0, or short when it's negative instead of 0. So that's the difference between saying all must match or not. And just to see that, if we turn out on again, um, you can see it here. It's neutral very rarely, and it's usually either positive or negative. But if you want a clean version, that's the clean way, right? Just especially when you have an overall one, saying I have a direction. Now, let's see what other things we can do. We have a direction change detector. Now, this one, you can see it's just picking this up, but instead it's just going, hey, change to change to change to change. It's kind of matching this because this indicator is kind of doing what this is looking to do for you. So you would use this on some other type of input. You wouldn't actually use this on coming from this indicator because it's already doing the job. On the other hand, this direction hold and agree cleans up the signal and says, look, instead of me triggering a change of direction on all of these, only when it swings past neutral and goes to the other side will I change. That's why it's called hold until agree. And the unsaid part of that, hold the current direction until all agree that another direction is now true. That would be the long version of that, but clearly I'm not going to label that out to here. So you get the idea. And you can see it got little blips there, right? It's kind of showing that these little things came here to say go the same direction, but it's just ignoring them because it's not going to flip back up to neutral like the center part just because of it wasn't there for a while. And so this is a good way of getting a nice clean, hey, we're going long, we're going short. Might be a good way of getting a bias out of something. So there's some directional indicators. And now the pulse. So you can see this thing here. If I hide this for a second, you see that disappears. I don't know, there's an input to pulse. We got direction, hold, and agree. So basically when direction, hold, and agree is going, that's both long or short, and here it's saying rising or falling edge, because pulse is up, down. Pulses, you usually talk about the rising edge or the falling edge. So, and that just happens to be, for anybody who wants to know, a Unicode character actually called pulse, I think, right? So that made it really easy to create. And you can use this edge trigger for any time you get direction changes and you just want to get a pulse instead of just holding, you just want to get a little blip to say, hey, something changed in some direction. So you can use that for all sorts of things. So that's just an example of some of the directional things that you can get. And there might even be some more. But just to give you an idea, there's a fairly large range of things you can do in with our components. And this is just a sample page of some stuff. The idea that we'd like to say that you're limited to your imagination only, but of course, there's always something somebody thought of that we hadn't done yet. But we got a lot. I mean, we've got something like 30 maybe odd components to do all sorts of things. This is just a few that handle directional stuff. And that's really all I wanted to show in this one. All of those, we can use some of those outputs, I should say, and we get a strategy now. This is a losing strategy because we weren't trying to make it a winning strategy. But that's a different matter. That's not what the purpose of this is. Just to show how you can mix and match components to get signals to do things. That's all this was for. And thank you.